Discuss a crucial topic and the community gap between the parents and the youth. We have gathered with teachers, settlement workers, social workers, parents, experts, and representatives to address this issue. The recent years have shown us that many youth have fallen through cracks, which is a result of the education gap that exists between the parents and, as you all know, the children. The education system has failed the youth, and especially those who have spent many years in refugee camps before coming to Canada, creating a gap in their education journey and negatively impacting their confidence and success at school. The Eritrean Community Association, which is Eccac, has noted a significant increase in the number of newly arrived Eritrean refugees, including families with children. The demand for various services required to address their needs have increased, and the Eccac is committed to allocate resources and capacity to find a durable solution to this issue. We will collaborate with government agencies, school boards, and community at large to address this issue. This event is just the beginning or the kickoff meeting of our efforts to bridge the communication gap between parents and youth. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank the remarkable committee and the tireless effort of those who volunteered to organize these events. We also extend our appreciation to our sponsors, Diversity's IOS, Immigration Outreach Society, Center for Newcomers, coordinators, facilitators, and parents. Thank you. And I would like also to talk in my native language, Tigrinya. ሰላም ከመይ ውዕልኩም በመጀመሪያ እንኳዕ ደሓን መጻእኩም ሎሚ ብዛዕባ ሓደ ኣገዳሲ ጉዳይ ማለት ብዛዕባ እቲ ኣብ መንጎ ወለድን መንእሰያትን ዘሎ ንሓሳብ ናይ ምልውዋጥ ጋር ክንመያየተሉ ኢና መፂና ነዚ ጉዳይ እዚ ምፍታሕ ምስ መምሃራን ሰትልመንት ወርከርስ ማሕበራዊ ሰራሕተኛታት ወለዲ ክኢላታት ክላስ ከምኡውን ፕሮፐርቲ ሃብቲ ተኣኪብና ኣለና ኣብ ዝቐረበ ዓመታት ብዙሓት መንእሰያት ብሰንኪቲ ኣብ መንጎ ወለድን ውልድን ዘሎ ናይ ምርፍዳእ ጋግን ካልእን ብዙ ዝተተሓሓዘ ከዓ ጉዳያት ካብ ኮኑዕ መስመር ተኣልዮም ክኸዱ ንዕዘብ ኣለና ስርዓት ትምህርቲ ነዞም መንእሰያት እዚኣቶም ብፍላይ ከዓ ነቶም ናይ ካናዳ ዕድሜ ምፅኦም ንሓያሎ ዓመታት ኣብ ማዕስከር ስደተኛታት ዘሕልፍዎ ኣብ ትምህርታዊ ጉዕዞኦም ጋብ ፈጢሩሎም ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ ዘለዎ ምትእምማን ኣሳልጦም ድማ ኣሉታዊ ፅልዋ ኣሕጊሩሎም እዩ በዝሒ ኤርትራውያን ኣብ ከተማና ከተማ ካልጋሪ ከባቢኣ እውን ኣብዚ ዝሓለፈ ውሑድ ዓመታት ዝተዓፃፀፈ ቁፅሪ ወሲኹ ብኡ መሰረት ድማ ድሌታትናን ፀገማትናን ጉድፋታትና እናዓበየ ከይዳ ኣሎ ማሕበረኮምና ድማ ንድሌታት ሽግራትን ኣባላቱ ነባሪ ዘላቕን ፍታሕ ንምርካብ ምስ ዝምልከቶም ኣካላት መንግስታውያን ቦታታት ቤት ትምህርትን ማሕበረሰብ ብምዃን ይሰርሓሉ ኣለዉ ሎሚ በዓል ነቲ ኣብ መንጎ ወለድን መንእሰያትን ዘሎ ንሓሳብ ናይ ምልውዋጥ ጋር ንምፅባል እንገብሮ ፃዕሪ መጀመርያ እዩ ነዚ ኣጋጣሚ እዚ ንምድላው ግዚኦም ይቆጥሙ ዘወፈዩ ከነበስደሊ ንሳቶም ከዓ መሻርክትና ዝሰርሑ ዘለዉ ዳይቨርሲቲ IOS, Immigration Outreach Society, Center for Newcomers, እዚኣቶም እዮም የቐኒሉ
We we appreciate the words from the Eritrean Community Association at Eccac. As mentioned, there is a lot of different partners that supported this event today. And notably, we have Immigrant Outreach Society, Adamesh is here. We have Diversities, we have a few staff, so Alex, Bethel, and others around the room. And Center for Newcomers, you're welcome to say hi. Alongside some community partners that are spending some of their time to help make sure that we have this important discussion today. Part of that as well is having some of those community supports to let us know what's going on. And so I'd like to invite the Alex from Diversities as the first guest speaker to just share a little bit about their organization and how they're so grateful to, or how we're grateful for their support. So thank you.
Hi everyone. Apologize, I cannot speak English here, so I hope that you can understand me. If not, I will try to speak below. I just want to say thank you so much everyone for taking the time to be here. For diversity, it's very important for us to connect with the community. So I will tell you a little bit about the organization and what we do and why we're here. So diversity is an organization that has been around in the city for 45 years. This year we'll be from 45 years old. Originally, we were founded as the Calgary Chinese Community Service Association, and with the idea and the mission to support community members that have language and cultural barriers that was preventing their social integration. But little by little, the city was changing, the world was changing. At some point, Calgary became the multicultural city that is now on. And for that reason, diversity changed. We changed our name, we changed our vision, we changed our image to accommodate members of different communities that were facing the same barriers, language and cultural differences that were preventing us to make Calgary our home as we would like to. So for that reason, we have decided to expand our outreach to different communities, those communities that really need that extra work, that really need the extra support, so you can also overcome the challenge. When Bethel told me about the challenges that the Eritrean community was facing and how your youth and child are facing this challenge between what your cultures, what the principles are, and how to adapt that to your lifestyle in Canada, I thought that's exactly what we do. I, as many of you, I came from a land that is very far away and to which I cannot go back. But that doesn't mean that that's not home for me. It's still home. And I have a child. And now I have the question, how can I also raise my child in a way that he can embrace Canada as the new home, but at the same time, he's connected with my culture, he's connected with my history, he's connected with the values I want for him to be the man that I want to be in the future. So that's something extremely challenging, and I can understand how that's become something that is also making your life complex, on top of everything that you have to do. So for that reason, diversity is here. We want to connect with you. We want to not be this event only. We want to be every Saturday, every weekend, every day that works for you, that they will work for us, because we want to support in any way that we can, and we want to grow our presence, our relationship with the Eritrean community in Calgary. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex. So our next guest speakers are with Calgary Police Service. So we have Constable Abdi, Constable Yusuf, and supporting them as well, we have Adamesh from Immigrant Outreach Society.
Thank you, Ariam. I will welcome Abdi and Yusuf. And on behalf of the Eritrean community, I would like to thank you guys. Whenever we have events, they always come and support the community. So I'm going to pass the mic to Abdi.
Thank you, Annie. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming out. This is an important topic event, of course. My name is Abdi Hassan. I'm with the Calgary Police Service. I work in what's called the diversity unit. My two portfolios are the African portfolio, so I work in the African communities and the Latin communities. So my task, my job is I work doing community engagement. I do projects, working with the community, working with different organizations, doing recreational activities with youth. Education is a big piece. My colleague here will talk about what's called the You and the Law, doing a presentation for newcomers. But here today, what's really, really important is for everyone here, the reason why you're here is because what are we looking forward to in supporting our youth? Supporting our youth from the Eritrean community. So, of course, just like every other community, everyone has issues, and there is new communities that are coming together. For instance, the Eritrean community will have their own challenges in dealing with how do we talk to our youth is a big thing, right? So kids are growing up here in Canada, kind of a two dimensions. I'm from the African community as well, from Somalia. So I totally understand. I grew up here in Canada. One of the biggest struggles I had was having that interaction with my parents. And then not only that, growing up in an environment that was a little bit more challenging. I'll give you a perfect example. 95% of the kids I grew up with were either dead or in jail, never see them again. So that's why for me, I have a very small circle of friends. People in the past had their own challenges, which creates different, it's very, very difficult for them to make choices, right? So for instance, here today, we're going to talk about how do we help our youth and how do we develop and support our youth. And as parents coming from Eritrea and other countries, I know it's difficult in empowering yourselves in dealing with the youth, because now the youth feel like have more power than parents nowadays. So that's pretty challenging as well. So for me, what I found that it is important for youth is I listed 4 things as employment, encouragement, and support and recreation. So I'll just quickly touch base on these things because I know I can't cover this. There's other speakers here. So employment I think, is a very, very important thing for kids, starting off at a young age. If they can do volunteer work, if they can do any job, it teaches them that responsibility. It teaches them also how to engage with their community and at the same time feel important. That's a big, big thing. Encouragement goes back to the parents. And I know it's difficult because parents work many, many hours and dealing with other things like paying bills and things like that. But encouraging your youth in when they're doing things that are right. Even small encouragement, such as saying that they're doing well in school, doing well in the household. Encouragement goes along with these, giving the kids confidence. Supporting, of course, I know as parents, we support our kids as best as we can do, but supporting them in ways where we could also talk about issues, dealing with schooling, dealing with their livelihoods. Having that communication piece is a big, big thing. And then the last thing I wrote is recreation. Recreation is very, very important. And the reason why I touch on this is because I feel recreation is what saved me from that 95% of those kids that I'm talking about. So I stayed busy playing basketball, playing football, doing things. So even though my environment was very, very challenging, when I stayed busy playing sports, it gave me an understanding of teamwork, hard work, that respect level. It teaches you things. Having that recreation thing is very, very important for kids. Other than that, I want to thank you for coming here on a Saturday. I know it is an important topic that we're talking about in supporting our kids and being there. And thank you very much. I'll pass the mic to my colleague, Yusuf.
Hello, everybody. My name is Yusuf. I'm with the diversity team as well. And just like Abdi was saying, I do pretty much the same work that Abdi does. I look after the Middle East and European portfolio. I've been a police officer for 21 years. My family's background, we're from the Middle East, from Lebanon, so I'm Lebanese. And I get the opportunity to work closely with my community. Just like Abdi, what he's explained with your community, I have the same issues within my community, right? I have this discussion with the Middle Eastern communities about engaging with the youth. And it goes a long way. The youth, like Abdi was saying, the youth feel more entitled these days. Then we have, social media. Everybody has cell phones that they're living off these cell phones. So as a parent, my only suggestion is that your youth if you're talking about your children that are growing up young, you need to have more of an interaction, have more of a trusting relationship. And meaning that your children need to have you as a friend as well. So they can trust you with coming to you from school with gossip, with things that are going on in school. Whether that's, we all know there's a drug issue in school, there's a bullying, that's become a big topic right now with a lot of students. And it's affecting the children, it's affecting the teenagers right to a high school level. So that's a communication that you need to start sitting down with your children and have, right? And not be too much of a, I know Abby and I were just talking about a balance being a parent, a strict parent, and then a parent that's going to play the good cop, bad cop, right? You got to start thinking like that, so your children can start having discussions and communication with those. My biggest thing is that in the last few months in the Middle Eastern community, we've had over maybe 12 separate funerals. And the funerals are based on drug overdose and mental health issues. And all of these could have been probably saved with just communication and finding other resources to help our own children, right? So that's all it comes down to. And Abby was talking about the presentation that we offer, and I do this for a lot of schools, and I'm connected with a few folks here that have potential of doing it. It's called the Youth Law, and we have one for the youth, where we educate the youth on how to interact with the police in uniform, especially for newcomers. Newcomers are coming into Canada, they're probably feeling intimidated when they see police because of their history in other countries. Here, policing in North America is a little different. So we do this presentation. It helps them understand the work that we do when they get stopped by the police. We talk a little bit about cyber safety, the safety on cell phones. We talk a little bit about domestic issues, whether that's within your household or families and friends. And we talk about this other interaction with police that goes a long way. So it's a good interaction with police and students, youth. We also have a Calgary Youth Interpretive Center. It's a museum that we always introduce communities to come out. I just held one for the Afghanistan community. So the children, families came from Afghanistan. We invited them to come. I did the education on the yoga law, and then the rest of the afternoon was spent doing a tour at the museum, and the museum is amazing. So it's another way for police to interact with their newcomers and to build that relationship. So I know you're probably struggling with your youth at home, but it's probably time to get the diversity team involved with your youth. We can bring them out. We can do some interaction with other units, with the police and all that. And it goes a long way. And this way, your youth will feel comfortable, and even for you folks, to feel comfortable with police. Because it's not just the youth sometimes are fearing this uniform. It could also be the elders in the community as well. So that's the work that we do in diversity. Community engagement goes a long, long way. So, and I want to say thank you for having us here. I know this invite was more for Abby, but I came along because I wanted to meet you folks. So thank you for having us here, and we'll be here throughout the event if you need to speak with us. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Abdi and Yusuf. Maybe most of you guys know me. I didn't introduce myself very well. I'm Abdi. Founder for Immigrant Welfare Society here. We work with Ethiopian and Eritrean, Somali and Sudan community, but mostly we work with Ethiopian and Eritrean community. We have so many programs for adults and youth. With that, I will invite our youth coordinator, David. I think he's the next speaker. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So thank you, Adi. I just want to quickly touch. I really appreciated the continued point of saying that the best thing we can do for our youth is have close relationships with them. We need to understand what's going on in their lives, but we also need to understand what's going on for you as parents to how you can best support them as well. So really appreciate kind of the comments from everyone. I think the last presentation we'll do for right now, yes, is our guest speaker is Dawi Moussier, who's a teacher with the Calgary Board of Education. And so I'd like to bring him up and he'll share a few words about his experience as a teacher and what that means for our youth.
Thank you. I'm doing a little bit of double duty right now to keep track of the sound and stuff. So we're just waiting for the breakers to be switched back on and we'll rearrange a little bit. So just like was mentioned, I am a teacher in the Calgary Board of Education. I've been a teacher for 8 years. This is my 8th year teaching. I taught in different parts of the city, mostly in the southeast in a fairly privileged community in Mackenzie Lake. And this year I moved to a new school that was just opened last week, actually, Prairie Sky School in Skyview Ranch. Before we moved to our new building, we were housed at Dr. Gordon Higgins, which is a school actually not far from here. And for the first few months of the year, it was kind of an eye-opener for me. I went from having students, like my 2 classes I taught previously to this year were homogenous, right? What you would expect to see in a suburban community. This year though, in my 2 classes that I teach out of 60 students, I have 4 white students. So completely different, flip side of what I was experiencing before. I have some Habesha students, some Ethiopian and Eritrean students, and I guess just to kind of give a little brief snapshot of kind of what goes on in schools and the current situation. Every time I go to a school, in most cases, I'm the first Black teacher that's been to that school. Just to start off with that thought. Once you get over that, I'm also the first Black teacher that most students have seen. So when they walk by my classroom, they don't know who I am. I've lost count how many times I see a group of Black boys who just walk by like, they walk by my door and then walk back and like, see a teacher? And of course I pretend like I'm doing something else and whatever else, and you hear that conversation like, I didn't know we were allowed to do that. I never had a Black teacher growing up, and I grew up in Calgary since I was 10 years old. I don't know any other Black teachers except for my sister. It's kind of an interesting perspective that I find myself in. I've been working with iOS for a couple of years now, initially in a volunteer position, and now I'm in a more formal position, helping and working with youth. When we engage with youth, overwhelmingly, they speak about the fact that they don't necessarily have people they can go talk to about things. And kind of going along with what the police officers were talking about, that open communication between parents and children. That's hard for any culture, but it's even harder in our culture. When I moved here when I was 10, up until now, it wasn't up until 3 years ago that I could really talk to my parents openly. And part of it is because my mom took a course with iOS, a course about just being aware of different mental health and stigma around. Completely changed how we speak about things, I hope. I no longer live at home with my parents, but I couldn't talk to them about things. All the way from when I was young until the last couple of years, as I mentioned. Couldn't talk to them about faith or lack of faith. I couldn't talk to them about, different clothing I wanted to wear, or different genders and different sexualities, all those things that you hear in society that a lot of times don't get talked about. Now being a teacher, we just had parent-teacher interviews last week at my school, and in those situations you get to see how parents interact with their children. At my last school, now I don't want to boil this down just to race, it's not about just race, but a lot of the white families, the non-immigrant families, you could see the way they spoke to each other. It was just like, it wasn't a parent talking to a child, it was two people communicating and just sharing. And there's certain boundaries that shouldn't be crossed, but they were able to speak. And for example, if a child wanted to go into a profession in the arts, I played music growing up, and I thought about that. But I wasn't comfortable to go talk to my parents and say, hey, I want this music thing that I'm interested in. I want to That doesn't really work that way in Habesha families. Right? Any guesses what my parents wanted me to be? Okay, doctor, engineer. Yeah, those were the first two. Teaching, of course, they were happy with that, but there were many other things I had thought about, but I never spoke to my parents about it. And that's a problem. Whether I ended up doing those things or not, the fact that I wasn't comfortable talking to my parents about it was a big problem. Luckily, I was able to get through that, navigate through that, and find something that I was passionate about. But now I'm seeing students on the other end who are dying to have the chance to talk to an adult about something, whatever that thing that they're holding is. People that look like us don't have people in schools they can talk to. Kids who look like us don't have people at school they can talk to. So if they're not comfortable talking to their parents at home, who are they talking to? Does anybody know? No one. They're just holding everything in. And I don't think that is a surprise to anybody, that holding things in that you need to kind of work through and discuss the kind of hard things. I think we all can agree that we need to be able to have those discussions, whether it's with parents or it's with someone trusted at school or it's with someone in the community, or an uncle or an aunt, whatever it is. We need people to bounce ideas off of and people to remind us, hey, like, that idea you haven't thought about this side of it. People who look like us don't have that in schools right now. And being on that side of the profession, being a teacher, being in a school, working with teachers who don't know how to speak to Black kids is hard to take. So in iOS, with us, the other organizations here, we're kind of approaching it from different angles, right? iOS is working towards finding resources for children who are dealing with mental health issues of various sorts, providing them somewhere to go, a safe place to talk, safe people to talk to. And if any human doesn't have someone they feel comfortable to talk to, then they're at risk. It's not a dark-skinned, light-skinned thing. It's, do you have a place to work through those things? Do you have people you trust? And if you don't, then you're at risk. And so that's kind of what we're navigating. The work with iOS is finding resources and trying to find ways to work with school boards and with other teachers and with other educational professionals. They're involved with the SRO. SROs are school resource officers, police officers who work in schools. There's a review of that whole process going on right now. iOS has been involved with that. It's about approaching it from different angles. And the solution to the issues we're facing are not just something the parents have to do. It's not just something the schools have to do. It's not just something the youth have to do. We all have a part to play in this. And it starts with things like this. Coming here, acknowledging that this is something we need to talk about and go on forward from. I will stop there just because we got a little late start. We have a few more people we need to share, so I will hand it back over. And if you have any questions and you want to communicate with iOS, we do have cards. I think we have cards on our table back there. It has my contact information, Abby's, and a few other people. If you want to contact us, either with ways to work together, or if you have concerns, or you have children who need support, please reach out to us.
Thank you so much, Dawi. It's great to hear the perspective of a teacher. A lot of great points about how our kids need role models. They need people they can relate to be able to open up, to talk about what's going on for them, especially since, like I think Council Abdi, you said, you know, we have more challenges here than maybe our parents understand. So it's great that not only Dawi's a Black teacher and a Habesha teacher, but he's bringing those points for all of us to think about. What we want to do next, at the end of all the guest speakers, what we'd like to do next now is to take a short break, but we're going to be going to group discussion. So we're going to do 3 groups here, and we have facilitators that are going to ask you some questions. So some leaders, so we have Lucie, if you want to put your hand up, who's going to be one group. We have Haile and Serafel is another group. Oh, there's there. And then we have Salam Alit, Sesson, Mahalat, and Zagarda, who are going to help the last group. So what we're going to do is we'll get the volunteers and people here to make small circles and face each other with the chairs, and then we're going to talk about with the parents about what the experience has been as parents supporting our youth. For the youth that are here, I'm going to ask you guys to go to the last section in the back there, all the kids that are here, and you're going to hang out with Noelle and a volunteer, and we're going to talk to you separately because the discussions with the facilitators are just for the parents today. So all the youth, if you're here and you don't have children, we want you to go in another group with Noelle from Center for Newcomers, okay? So you'll go in the back corner, just on the side.
ሰላም ኩላኩም ተሳተፍቲ እንኳዕ ደሓን መጻእኩም የቅሬታ በአካል ተረኺበ እዚ ሓሳብ እዚ ሓሳበይ ከካፍል ብዘይምኽኣለይ ብሓደ ሓደ ምክንያታት ኣቀዲሙ ዝተታሕዘ ምክንያታት ክመፅእ ስለ ዘይከኣልኩ ብከምዚ መንገዲ እቲ ዘለና ሓሳባት ከካፍለኩም ዝደሊ ሓሳባት የቅርብ ኣለኹ እሞ ስለ ዝመጻኹም የቀኒልና ኣነ ብዙሕ ነገር ክንብል ንኽእል ኢና ንደቅናን ንዓናን ዘጋጥመና ዘሎ ፀገማት ኣብ ካናዳ መጀመርያ ምስ መፃና ክሳብ ዝተወሰነ ዓመታት እውን ቀሊል ኣይኮነን ብጣዕሚ ብዙሕ ነገራት እዩ ብዙሕ ግዜ ዝወስድ እዩ ግና ምስ ግዜና ኩሎም ብፆተይ እውን ነናቶም ክብሉ ስለ ዝኾኑ ክልተ ነጥብታት ክጠቅስ እየ ኣነ ምስ ካልገሪ ብሪጅ ኣብ ቤት ትምህርትታት ቀሪብና ስለ ንሰርሕ እዞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም እንታይ ዓይነት ፀገማት የጋጥሞም ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ ዝብል እቲ ናይ መጀመርያ ነጥበ እዩ መጀመርያ ምስ መፁ ክሳብ ዝተወሰነ ግዜ እውን ብፍላይ ከኣፍቲ መጀመርያ እዋን ምስ መፁ እዞም ቆልዑት እዞም ተምሃሮ እዚኦም ብፍላይ ድማ እቶም ናይ ትምህርቲ ጋግ ዘለዎም ፍቆድኡ ጌርና ስለ ንመፅእ ብማዓስከር ብሳልሳይ ሃገር ወይቲ ናይ ቀዳማይ ናይ ዕቁባን ሓተሉ ሃገር ኣብኡ ድማ ብስሩዕ ንኸይንምሃር ዝገብሩና ብዙሓት ምክንያታት ስለ ዘለው በዚ ኩሉ ምክንያት ኣፍትን ናፍትን ክንብል ብዙሕ ዓመታት ጋግ ይፍጠር ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ብዙሓት ቆልዑት ናይ 3 ዓመት ናይ 4 ዓመት ሓንሳብ ክትኣምኖ ብዘጸግም ናይ 6 ዓመት ናይ ክላስ ጋግ ዘጋጥሞም ተምሃሮ ኣለዉ ሓምሻይ በፂሖም ክንሶም ኣብዚ ምስ መፁ ግን 8ይ 9ይ 10ይ 12 እውን ደኣትው ኣለዉ ዝገርም ጋግ ናይ ትምህርቲ ሒዞም ይመፁ ማለት እዩ እቲ ቀንዲ ሽግር ከዓ ነዞም ተምሃሮ እዚኣቶም ዘጋጥሞም ልክዕ ከምቲ ሓምቢሱ ዘይክእል ሰብ ናብ ባሕሪ ክትርብዮ ከለካ ዘጋጥም ነገራት ልክዕ ከምኡ ዘጋጥሞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም ሓደ ቋንቋ የብሎምን ካልኣይ ላይፍ ስኪል ናይ ካናዳ ክእለት ናይ ኣነባብራ ክእለት ናይ ኣዘራርባ ክእለት ናይ ኣቀራርባ ክእለት እዚ ኩሉ ነገራት የብሎም ካብ ዓድና ሒዝና መፃና ናትና ክእለት ኣለና ትኽክል እዩ ግን ኣብዚ ዘድልየና ክእለታት ሶፍት ስኪል ኣብዚ ዘድልየና ክእለታት ኣሎ እዞም ክእለታት እዚኣቶም እዮም ምስ ካልኦት ከም ንዋሳእ ዓርከ መሓዛ ከም ንገብር እሞ ብግቡእ ተዛኒና ጽቡቕ ተሰሚዕና ኣብዚ ዓዲ ክንነብር ከም ንጅምር ዝገብሩና እዚኣቶም እዮም ካልእ እዞም ነገራት እዚኣቶም ዝህልውና እናትና ርእሰ ተኣማንነት ሓፍ ይብል እሞ ንኩሉ ነገር ከከም ኣማጻጽኡ ክንገጥሞ ንኽእል ኢና ማለት እዩ ስለዚ እዚ ነገራት እዚ ስለ ዝሓፅሮም ዞም ደቅና ግን ምስ መፁ ከመጋይሽ ከም ወላ ሓንቲ ዘይፈልጡ ተመክሮ ዘይብሎም ሓንቲ ነገር ከም ዘይብሎም ትሕቲ ሰብ ዝኾነ ስምዒት ይስምዖም ማለት እዩ እዚ ስምዒት እዚ ብገዛውን ዝርዳኣሎም ብዙሕ ኣይረኽቡን እዮም ኣብዚ ቁርብ ወለዲ ክነተክረሉ ዘለና ነገር ኣሎ እሱ ድማ እንታይ እዩ እዞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም ደቅና ብልክዕ እንታይ ዓይነት ህይወት እዮም ዘሕልፉ ዘለዉ ኢልና ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ ብምምፃእ ድዩ ካልኦት ወለዲ ተመክሮ ዘለዎም ወለዲ ብምሕታት ድዩ ምስ መምሃራን ብምዝታይ ድዩ ተርጎምቲ ጌርና ክንገብሮ ንኽእል ነገራት እዩ ኩሉ ቋንቋ ንባዕልና እውን ሕፅረት እንተለና ማለት እዩ ስለዚ እዞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም እዚ ኩሉ ፀገማት ኣለዎም እተን ቀንዲ ዝጠቐስኩዎን ግን ሕፅረት ቋንቋ ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ ብዘይ ቋንቋ መፂኻ ከጋጥመካ ዝኽእል ኣብ መዛኑኻ ከጋጥመካ ዝኽእል ፀገማት ኣዝዩ ብዙሕ ኣብ መወዳእቱኻ ናብ ርእስኻ ምትሓት ወይ ርእሰ ተኣማንነት ምስኣን የብፅሓካ ማለት እዩ ከምዚ እንድሕር ኣሎ ኣይትዋሳእን ኢኻ ምስ መን ኢኻ ትዋሳእ ምስቶም ከማኻ ዓይነት ፀገም ዘለዎም ሰባት ጥራሕኻ ትዋሳእ ምስኦም ጥራሕኻ ትዋሳእ ምስኦም ጥራሕኻ ጉጅለ ትፈሊ እዞም ከምዚኦም ዓይነት ጉጅለታት ከዓ ብካልኦት ኣድለይቲ ዘይኮኑ ወይ ሓደገኛታት ዝኾኑ ጉጅለታት ክጥለፉ ዘሎ ዕድል ብጣዕሚ ልዑል እዩ ማለት እዩ ኣብ ትምህርቲ ዝነበሮም ኩሉ ተስፋ ይፅንጋቕ ሓደ ስለዚ ድማ ከዘናግዕዎም ዝኽእሉ ወይ ድማ ከማምቕዎም ዝኽእሉ ክቕበልዎም ዝኽእሉ ጉጅለታት እዮም ዝደልዩ ፍፅዋነት እዩ ነዚ ነገር እዚ ብግቡእ ዝምዝምዙ ጉጅለታት ከዓ ኣለዉ ማለት እዩ ብፍላይ ኣብ ሃይስኩል ስለዚ ናብ ዘየድሊ ማእዘን ይወስድዎም ነዞም ቆልዑት ኣብ መወዳእቱ ድማ ናብ ጉድኣቲ ዝኾኑ ተግባራትን ወልፍታትን ይኣትዉ ነብሶም ተጎዲኦም ስድሮኦም ለኪሞም ዋላ ነቲ ኮሚኒቲ እውን ዝርብሽ ነገር ወይ ዘሸግር ነገር ነቲ ከተማ እውን ዘሸግር ነገር ይፍጠር ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ኣብዚ እዋን እዚ እዚ ሽግራት እዚ ብብዝሒ ኣብዞም ተምሃሮና ይርአ ኣሎ ቅድሚ ሕጂ ዘይነበረ ብዝሒ እዩ ሕጂ ዝመፅእ ዘሎ እዚ ዘርእየና ነገር ድማ እዚኣ ሓንቲ ረቑሒት ክትከውን እያ ነዚ ሽግር እዚ ካብ ዘምፅኡ ዘለዉ ምክንያቱ መጀመርኦም መፂኦም ተስፋ ዘለዎ መንገዲ ሒዞም እንተዘይከይዶም እዚ መራፅ እዚ ክመፅእ ናይ ግድን እዩ ትፅበዮ ኢኻ እታ ካልአይቲ ነጥቢ ድማ ንወለዲ እየ ካልአይቲ ነጥቢ ሕጂ ወለዲ ነዚ ኩሉ ፀገማት እዚ ኣብ ቦትኡ ከሎ ሓገዝ ናይ ወለድኸ ከመይ እዩ ዘሎ ዝብል ሕቶ ከነልዕል ንግደድ ሓገዝ ኩላትና ይርዳኣና ይንፈልጦ ኢና እቲ ሓገዝ ኣሎ ክንብሎ ኣይንኽእልን ኢና ብዝተፈላለዩ ምክንያት ሓደ ህይወት ንክንመርሕ ኣዝዩ ከቢድ ኩነታት ስለ ዘጋጥመና ኣብዚ ላዕልን ታሕትን ክንብል ንደቅና ንህቦ ግዜ ብጣዕሚ ውሱን እዩ ዳርጋ የለን እውን ሓንሳብ ክትብል ትኽእል ኢኻ ማለት እዩ ሓደ ካልኣይ ነዞም ደቅና ክንሕግዞም ተደኣ ኮይና ብዛዕባ ቤት ትምህርቲ ገለ ክንፈልጥ ኣለና ብዛዕባ ካናዳ ኣፍልጦና ከነዕቢ ኣለና ከምዚ እንተደኣ ጌርና ጥራሕና ክንሕግዞም ንኽእል ንባዕልና እንተደኣ ነብስና ሰባት እንዳሓተትና ዝፈልጡ ክኢላታት እንዳሓተትና ሃዋህው ናይ ቤት ትምህርቲ እንዳሓተትና እቲ ሲስተም ብሓፈሽኡ ናይ ዓዲ ቀልጢፍና ፈሊጥና ንደቅና ክንሕግዞም እንተደይ ጀሚርና ደቅና ባና ተስፋ ቆርፁ ዘጋጠመ ሽግር የጋጥሞም እውን ምስ ካልኦት ኮይኖም ክፈትሑ ወደ ኣንበር ምሳና ኮይኖም ክፈትሑ ይደልዩን እዮም ምክንያቱ ክንሕግዞም ኣይንኽእልን ኢና ዘለና ስለዚ ክሕግዙና ይክእሉን እዮም ወላ ሓንቲ ክሕግዙና ዘኽእሎም ፍልጠትን ዓቕምን የብሎምን ኢሎም ስለዚ ድምድሙ ንዓና ካብ ምንጋር ንዓና ብሽግራቶም ካብ ምእታው ካብ ምፅምባር ይዕቀቡ ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ድማ ነቲ ነገር ዘጋድድ ይኸውን ወላ ሓንቲ ትፈልጦ ወላዲ የብልካን ብደገ ደጊኡ መፍትሒ ክረክብ ክብል ኣብዚ የድሊ ፀገምን ኣብዚ የድሊ መስመርካ ምስሓትን ይበፅሑ ዞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ወለዲ ሓደራ ክብል ዝደሊ ናይ ደቅና ሽግር ቀሪብና ክንፈልጦ ንፅሓር ብድሕሪኡ እኹል ግዜ ንሃቦም ብድሕሪኡ ድማ ንሓግዞም ማለት እዩ ትክንገብሮ ንኽእል ንግበር ንሕና ክንገብሮ ዘይንኽእል እንተደኣ ኮይና ዓቕሚ ተዘይብልና ዓቕሚ ምስ ዘለዎም ፕሮግራማትን ሰባትን ከነራኸቦም ንፅሓር እቲ ብሽግር ዘሎ እቲ ብፀቐጠ ዘሎ ቆልዓ ባዕሉ ነዚ ኩሉ ነገራት ክገብር ኣይክእልን ስለዚ ናትና ሓገዝ የድልዩ ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ መፂና እውን ኩሉ ግዜ እሳቶም የጉድሉ ይብድሉ ማለት ኣይኮነን ክንፈልጦ ኣለና ተዘጋጥም ዘሎ ሽግራኡ ፈሊጥና ከዓ ግቡእ ዝኾነ ኣድቮኬሲ ወይ ከዓ ክንጣበቐሎም ንደቅና ይግባአና እዩ ጉድለት ተልዩ ድማ ኣፅኒዕና ጉድለት ናይ ደቅና ሓቢርና ምስኦም ክንፈትሖ ይግባአና እዩ ነቲ ሽግር ተቐቢልና ኣሚንና ክንፈትሖ ይግባአና እዩ ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ወለዲ በዚ መንገዲ እዚ ክንሪኦ ነቲ ጉዳይ ናትና ሓገዝ ድማ ነዞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም ኣዝዩ ኣገዳሲ ኣዝዩ ዓብ ምዃኑ ከነስተፈል ይግባአና እዩ ብፍላይ እዚ ብዕድመ ኤጅ ኣፕሮፕሪየት ፕሌስመንት ሲስተም ዝብልዎ ቆልዓ መፂብ እዚኣ ብዕድሚኡ ስለ ዝኣቱ እንታይ ዓይነት ናይ ትምህርቲ ጋግ ኣለዎ ብዘየገድስ ክሳብ ሕጂ ወላ ሓንቲ መፍትሒ ዘይተገብረሉ ነገር እዩ ነዚ መፍትሒ እዚ ክርከቦ ከዓ ኩላትና በብወገንና ድምፅና ሓፍ ከነብል ይግባአና እዩ ናይ ኤርትራ ኮሚኒቲ ከዓ ብፍላይ ማለት እዩ ኣብዚ ጉዳይ እዚ ገለ መፍትሒ ክርከብ መሰጋገሪ ድኸውን ትራንዚሽን ድኸውን ንትራንዚሽን ዝኸውን ትካላት ድዩ ክኽፈት ብውሕዱ ገለ ቋንቋን ርእሰ ተኣማንነትን ላይፍ ስኪልን ትሕዘሉ ናይ ውሕዳት ኣዋርሕዋላ ይኹን ስለዚ ድማ ናብቲ ዝተረፈ ትምህርቲ ትሕወሰሉ ኩነታት ድዩ ክኸውን ወይ ካልእ ፍታሕ ኩላትና ተሓባቢርና ከነምፅኦ ዝግባአና ወይ ክንሓስቦ ዘለና ጉዳዩ ጥራሕ እዞም ቆልዑት እዚኣቶም ቁሩብ ኣብ ርእሶም ተኣማንነት ይሕዲሮም ቁሩብ ኣፍልጦ ሒዞም መበገሲ ዝኾኖም ነገር ሒዞም ናብቲ ዝዓበየ ተምሃራይ ወይ ቤት ትምህርቲ ዝፅምበሩሉ ኩነታት ክንፈጥር ወይ ክንሓስብ ይግባአና እዩ ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ምስቲ ዘሎ ግዜ ዘረባይ ኣብዚ ክውድኤ ማለት እዩ يغني تصنيلكم ثلاث سماعهم من بتعمي يمسكنوا
إذا كنت بهذا اللون نسي شجر جملة سنتاي كأكلنا كنا نقول لطوالع جينا طب إيه جميل بحيث أكون عسكر فيها بروجرام 5 years was done. It takes 5 years to take the PR. When you are in the refugee camp, there is no school. Even in the school, it's a mandate to play the ID. I call it. So the point that we want to follow is education. But when you go. I just started the puzzle.com, by the way, a month ago. All the time I was working from elementary, which is good. just to let you know, funding every year funding that is with the schools. كما تقولوا شو معنا أبحث class 15 students maximum here. هجي 70 students in a class, one teacher. Can you هجي one main teacher and then assistant teachers كان يلا. بنبغى أخذ the community volunteer to go group, مش أمريني to go group, مش أمريني لبزوم, social skill تشكل كان مثل bullying حتى الكبار مش متعدد. Now يلا. Teachers are already stressed, principals are already stressed. Why? Because there are so many students in one class. إذا ما teachers بدل بتصدق كل الوقت، بدل كذا كل الوقت وراء يقدروا وقت أيضا أديشان. Because they are already stressed. Some of the teachers are even saying they are not coming back to school. Adding to that, mental health is a problem. Mental health my own children because of COVID and different other things. And now we have this time. So, do we have time with our children? Do we really communicate? Having time doesn't mean public accounting. Having time is being in the moment. After you get after you come for that, living in the moment at the end. Now some group can have the soccer in the sky if you have a child in soccer. After you come to the house, you cannot get present with him. Now I know that. ماذا تحكي حاجة؟ دوسو مهنية. أنا لما أقول لك إيه كم يجرب مرة لذي كم هتوقع. Now, sit down in the library with them. Read even any book, ABC one, book, coffee. تركوني. أنت بعدين كيلو بزبطهم الحياة أكملها وتحت حاجة. Fair entry علينا. Just so that sport مهمس. أصلي أصلا أنا قلتهم $5 يعني. لما تحت حاجة fair entry. Why don't we teach them? We can't even know they have to وعشوق تطاوته. قدر أقول لهم سكر شاف من الفين. Community soccer صاروا. بعدين ناود بحنو. Why don't we put them there? Physically fit تقول يسمع أحد كلهم ما تحنو. Give them chores at home. أنت كذا سرح يسرح. أنت لو عندي نقطة أكبر مثال. السنة أنا أبغى أخذ مني السنة ده. كابتنكم كذا ما تقدر. Otherwise. Technology is going to be the worst enemy of the child. So the end of the learning, kalau kita nak macam terlalu, kalau kita nak ada, dah sebenarnya kalau ada dia, akhirnya ada dia lain. Tekna apa? And then akhirnya kita kenal ani, pusto, I can't. We are not here to compete. Kena kita awal, kena kita tekna awal. كذي كسر هندي هندي عند وقتنا ودي قاي ودخل كيمو ودخل قاي هندي وهذا وقتنا يرجع كان يجران أول that's it thank you so much
okay ya kan yang saya waktu Thank you for coming. This one is some of Thank you.